Public School Board meeting for Monday, November 11, 2024. We welcome and appreciate your presence at this meeting. We respectfully ask that you turn off cellular phones and refrain from clapping, cheering, or making audible comments. We invite you to make formal public comment during the designated times, either on the agenda or non-agenda items. You can find a comment card in the entryway as well as an agenda to review. Please fill out that card and give it to, do want to back it, the board assistant down front has her hand raised. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Next, we have our roll call.
Yes. Mr. Ross is excused. Ms. Shecky?
Here.
Ms. Wade?
Present.
I thought I saw you. Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Eatman?
Present.
Ms. Lewis is here. Ms. Melton?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
President Williams?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Next, we need the approval of our agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Dr. Roby.
I just want to remind the board, and good evening, everyone. Just a reminder to the board, we've been asked to bring our microphones a little bit closer and tilt them closer to our mouse so that people can hear. People in the back row, just wave your hand if you can hear my voice. Thank you. All right, so good evening, everyone. And I'm sorry. Of course, I'm not quite ready, but I want to, first of all, acknowledge that today is Veterans Day, and if we have any active or retired members in the audience, do you mind please standing so we can acknowledge you?
No.
Thank you. So today, as we honor our veterans, let us remember the sacrifices and dedication that they have taken, and even their families, to protect our freedoms and values. At Grand Rapids Public Schools, we are deeply grateful for your service. As I said in my email this morning to our GRPS staff, that this is an opportunity to instill in our scholars an understanding of duty and honor and the importance of community. And so to all of our veterans, the one that we have here in our audience, Mr. Beresford, and then all of you who may have had family members who are serving or have served, thank you so much for your service. All right, and so we are at celebrations. Our new structure has me a little, thank you, thank you, thank you. We will have Mr. Mel Atkins as well as Ms. Kirsten Wade come up and speak about the Catherine Health Center partnership. So if you'll come on up.
We can share. I can't. It's horrible. It's hard to I don't know what happened to me.
Good evening, President Williams. I'm Dr. Roby, members of the board. Again, my name is Mel Atkins, the Executive Director of Community and Student Affairs. And I'm excited to, one, introduce Ms. Kirsten Wade, who has been newly appointed our new Director of Health Services. So I want to introduce her to the board. But also, two, we have an exciting partnership that is taking shape, and we're going to be excited to talk about our new health center at one of our schools. And so introduce Kirsten Wade, and she can introduce our distinguished guest as well.
Okay, perfect. Hi, I'm Kirsten Wade, as Mel said, the new Director of Health Services. Thanks for having us. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our child and adolescent health centers and just highlight those programs this evening. As many of you know, we've been partnering with Cherry Health since 1999 for 3 of our school-based health centers at Ottawa Hills, Union High School, and Innovation Central. And at those centers, we offer full-service medical, dental, and behavioral health services to any child and adolescent in the community, ages 3 to 21. This year, we are excited because we are now partnering with Catherine's Health Center to open up a 4th school-based health center at Harrison Park Academy. So this is a new health center. It will also be offering full-service medical and behavioral health services to any student or community member ages 3 to 21 years of age. There will be, some of the services offered are going to be primary care services, so well child checks, mental health. Oh, yeah, I should say. There we go. Mental health services, health education, immunizations, injury, illness prevention and response, STI and HIV education, counseling, and referrals to other specialists and agencies. And any student, like I said, any student scholar can be seen there. If they're under the age of 18, they do need parental consent, unless they're requesting confidential testing as or services defined by Michigan law. So we'll be following all Michigan state laws with that. To give a little more background on Catherine's Health Center, though, I'm joined today by Sheila Jalzama's in the crowd. She's our school health manager. We also have Brad Moore, who is our Harrison Park principal, and this is Sarah Brooks, our operations director for Catherine's Health Center.
Hi. Thank you for having us. Just wanted to take some time briefly to introduce Catherine's, as I know we're a little bit newer in the community as it relates to a broad understanding of our services. So we are a federally qualified health center. Our mission is to provide access to high quality, affordable, and compassionate healthcare to all. And our vision is a thriving community free of health inequities, which is really where school health comes into play, because if we're not doing prevention at the school level, it's harder to catch up to prevention when you're an adult. Most often dealing with chronic diseases at that point. So we started in the basement of St. Alphonsus Church in 1996 as a free clinic. We were a joint venture with the Creston Neighborhood Association, St. Mary's Hospital, as well as St. Alphonsus Church. And through that time, we have grown, or since that time, we have grown by leaps and bounds and are now in 12 locations, with Harrison Park Academy being included in that. We expect to open in January. We have 4 what we like to call brick and mortar locations, providing primary health care, medical, behavioral, and dental health. And we're located throughout the community, as you can see on the map on the slide. And we're also in Kentwood Public Schools and Godfrey Lee Public Schools as well. Those are the services we provide. The health support services are really important, especially in the school community as well. So some referral navigation, if there are services that we won't be offering at Harrison Park, we need to connect families or scholars to those services in our other sites. We will absolutely be working through that as well. And so just to sum it up, we provide health care to all, and most of our patients are uninsured, underinsured, and on Medicaid, and there's never a balance home to students or their parents. So, thank you.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to acknowledge I'm an early childhood provider, and a lot of times we don't offer health care for our teachers, and I'll say back in the early 2000s, that was where a lot of our teachers got care from. So thank you for all the work that you guys continue to do in our community.
Thank you.
I do have a quick question. You kind of mentioned it earlier, Ms. Wade, in regards to speaking on the partnership that we have with Cherry Health. I'm just curious to know or have a better understanding for us, like why not continue with adding them to the next building and why bring in another party?
Yeah.
In that regards, I'm curious to know what's the plan with Cherry Health as they're a part of the system already since
Absolutely.
1990?
Yeah, no, great question. We GRPS collectively, Health Services did approach Cherry Health when this opportunity came up, and they were like, you know what, we're good, we're at capacity, I don't think we can open up another one right now. We then went and spoke with Catherine's. They were very excited to jump on board, and we knew that we just didn't have a whole lot of health services on that north side of our community, especially for youth. And like I said, Catherine's was very excited to jump on board. We're maintaining our partnership with Cherry Health, with our 3 school-based health centers, and the school-linked programs with them for dental and vision services, and now partnering with Catherine's to offer even more services.
And my follow-up, and thank you for that, my follow-up will be, what is the plan for the integration between the 2 systems? Oftentimes, they don't necessarily share the same medical information for HIPAA and other reasons that can happen with that, but if, let's say, there is a intersection there between someone utilizing the services there and then, let's say, they transfer and move and they go to Cherry or to another location that offers by Cherry Health, how would that information be integrated or shared across the platform, since now there are 2 different governing bodies under one roof?
Yeah, that's, do you want to go?
Yes. We have typical medical records release processes where we would have either that scholar or their families, as appropriate based on if it's minor confidential services or typical primary care, and we would release information between entities via that release form.
We also there'll be annual consents for Cherry Health or Catherine's Health Center. If students want to be seen in the health center, and like I said, they're under 18, they do have to fill out, their parents have to fill out a consent form. So even if a student were to move to a different school, midway through the year, or, we could just obtain a new consent for that facility as needed.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Atkins and Ms. Wade will stay on board to kind of talk a little bit about the Cherry Health partnership.
Yep. So one thing I know we started with was just a brief introduction to what happened with Cherry, and so I know we can probably skip that one. And so Ms. Wade did start with introduction to Cherry Health, so we can check that one off as well.
Okay.
Are there any questions about Cherry Health?
All right.
They're maintaining their relationship, they're just not expanding because of capacity, is that correct?
Yes.
They're not planning on shutting down any of those?
No.
Okay.
Not even a little bit.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Next up, our fall athletics accomplishments, and I will invite Mr. Larry Johnson as well as our district athletic directors to come forward to talk about our fall season.
Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Roby, other distinguished board members. I don't think these gentlemen need an introduction, Marcus Harris and Justin Walker, but they will be sharing with you just some of the accomplishments that some of our athletic teams have achieved during the fall sports season.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Williams, and members of the board. This fall, Union High School, we had 8 first-team OK Gold athletes, along with 5 of the OK Gold honorable mention scholar athletes this fall. The Union Cross Country team won the Red Hawk Hawks Invite, as well as 3 top 3 team finishes at the Sparta Invite, the Oak Ridge Invite, as well as the Big Hill Invite. Along with that, the Union boys tennis team were qualified for academic All-State again this year. Out of 327 schools in Division I, the Union Red Hawk tennis team finished in 3rd place with a overall team GPA. So very quick notes for the fall, but we had a great fall. We look forward to the winter, and we thank you for your time and support. And Ms. Harris.
Good evening, President Williams, Superintendent Dr. Roby, and board members. Just going to share with you some of the highlights from the Ottawa Hills Bengals athletic program from the fall season. For volleyball, we had over 60 girls try out for the volleyball program, which we had nearly 50 girls in the program. We had over 125 students participate in our annual youth volleyball camp, which featured GRPS 2nd through 5th graders. We also competed well in a very tough OK White conference, which has currently 4 teams ranked in the top 10. So we had 1 honorable mention all-conference in volleyball as well. Going to girls swimming, our girls swim team just wrapped up their conference meet over the weekend. We finished in 2nd place in the OK Conference East Division. We had 2 individual conference titles in the individual 200 individual melee and the 500 freestyle. We had 6 all-conference selections for girls swimming. All 3 of our divers qualified for dive regionals, and we just recently over the weekend had 7 swimmers qualify for the MHSA state finals next weekend. Cross country, we had both boys and girls cross country teams win the Marauder Invitational at St. John's in September. Our girls team qualified for the state finals by taking 2nd place at their regional in Portage. Our girls team finished 26th in the state meet, and it was the 10th year in a row that the Ottawa Hills cross country team had state qualifiers. Our football team, we won our first game in 3 years. We also were able to get enough players to have at least 2 levels in a sub-varsity and varsity team first time in 3 years. We had 2 all-conference selections and 1 honorable mention, and currently we had 15 players who had achieved a 3.0 GPA or higher after the first marking period, including 5 with a 4.0 GPA. We increased participation this year. Also got a player who Michigan State football is recruiting on our team, who was Michigan State coaches at our school last week. And so thank you for allowing these opportunities for our student athletes. And the fall season just about over, and we started winter sports season today. Thank you.
Who's that lucky man who's being recruited by Michigan State?
His name is Rayshawn Rogers.
Rayshawn Rogers?
Yeah, he's a senior.
That wraps up the fall sports. I know Mr. Walker is working on some things right now with a young scholar athlete here at Union High School. We hope to bring some exciting information to you about that scholar once it's confirmed with the state on that individual's accomplishments. And we just have to confirm some things with the state on the accomplishments and the records that that individual has achieved. And once that's done, we will bring that to you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have a school that is a century old, and so I will invite ED Mr. Chad Nielsen as well as Principal Brad Moore to come up and talk about Harrison Park as we celebrated 100 years.
President Williams, Dr. Roby, and members of the board, thank you for having us here today. We had a pretty special opportunity to recognize a school that has been with us for quite some time. And I'm here with the principal, Brad Moore, and I'm going to let him talk a little bit about the 100-year celebration that they had.
Thank you for having me, President Williams, Dr. Roby, and esteemed board members. Every fall, Harrison Park invites the community's students, scholars, families, community partners to a family fun night. And this year was a little different because Harrison Park was built in 1924. So we are celebrating 100 years. And it was just amazing to see the community come together, the school district supporting us, the communications department. On top of our typical activities where we have yard games in the gym, we have a cakewalk where our guests can win prizes, we have hot dogs and pizza, and reading with Reggie, who is our mascot. We added some cupcakes for our birthday party. We added a time capsule where all of our classes contributed an artifact to bury in our courtyard, and our courtyard has also been modified. We got a couple trees. One was to commemorate this 100th anniversary and to kick off the next 100 years that will be just as amazing, because Harrison Park structurally is just a gem of a building, and they don't build them like that anymore. And it's an honor to be a leader in that building and to kind of show you what that night was like. Before I show you the video, I want to also say that we had so many community members come out. These were students from the 1950s and 60s, teachers that have been retired for decades. They came back to recognize what an amazing experience they had at Harrison Park. So that was great to see. And in preparation for the event, we went to the Grand Rapids Archives and we went to the Grand Rapids Public Library and gathered old materials. We tried to find yearbooks and pictures and articles, and now we have those in our lobby. If you come by, you can see those to this day. And even some old pictures, those students sitting in those seats of those pictures came to the event, so that was really cool to see. So without further ado.
Welcome to our 100th birthday party, where tonight the building is the star.
100 years ago, a vision was born, rooted in the belief that education could transform lives and empower individuals to change the world. Over the years, our scholars, staff, family, and community partners have proven this to be true.
We've been married 60 years.
We were going steady here in
Yes.
56, 57, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Friendship rings, they were called back in the day.
It's wonderful that it's still here. It's just absolutely great because we have such good memories of it.
It helped me in the future. I was a design engineer for Steelcase for almost 22 years. And I think it was Mr. Makoviak's mechanical drawing classes that helped me through it.
I have a lot of wonderful memories of the school because I love this school so much.
That is our time capsule. All of our classes here at Harrison made something to put in the time capsule. There's photos and there's messages on the backs of those photos and some other items. We're going to bury that in the courtyard today. All right, who's next?
It's not just about the school building itself, it really is about our community. Events like this is what makes Grand Rapids Public Schools so special, coming together for generations, united in a shared sense of pride in our schools, in our neighborhoods, and our future.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a quick question. I noticed that time capsule, and after what we went through at Kensington, was that adequately marked so that we can find it in 100 years from now?
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Luke Steer. He was prepared for that. He got us a stone to put right on top of it that says clearly there is a time capsule under here.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, and we have another celebration. Ottawa Hills Academy and Hospitality of Tourism had a grand reopening, and so I would invite Executive Director Cheney as well as Principal Dr. Timothy Mabin to come up and talk about this wonderful event and the implications for our scholars.
Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Roby, distinguished board members. Thank you for having us here to celebrate this phenomenal opportunity for our scholars. The partnership that we have with Grand Valley, with Experience GR, we could not be more happy to be up here and show you this video tonight. It is a pathway to success for so many of our scholars, and We were just excited to be able to host this at Ottawa Hills High School, the reopening. And the reason I say reopening is it's a launch, right? We have many more scholars enrolled this year than ever before. We have new energy around this, and we have just all sorts of beautiful things planned. So thank you for allowing us to be here. And Dr. Mabin, what would you like to say?
Sure. Thank you for having me here, President Williams, Dr. Roby, and Board of Trustees. The Academy of Hospitality and Tourism has just been an amazing opportunity. As we sort of re-envision and reestablish Ottawa Hills as a thriving learning environment, the partnerships, Trustee Eatman, experienced GR, Dr. Stansby at GVSU have just been fundamental, not only with the resources that they provided our scholars, but also their thought partnership, as we really dive in and we expose students to pathways that maybe they had not yet imagined for themselves that really give the possibility of a bright future. So it's just been a great partnership to have, and I look forward to what it can do for our students moving forward.
So I'll say here is our video, and just watch where we go, not only in the video, but beyond.
This is truly a time of excitement and rebuilding at Ottawa Hills High School.
We're committed to preparing our scholars for a life beyond the classroom, and the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism embodies that mission.
3, 2, 1.
Every day I witness firsthand how this program is transforming the lives of our young people. By igniting a passion for hospitality and tourism, while also teaching the importance of making a positive impact, we are shaping future leaders who will bring lasting change to their communities and beyond.
These students are having hands-on experiences that really connect them to the industry, not just from behind the classroom, but practical, hands-on experience to show them just how they can see themselves in this work.
The store offers an experimental learning opportunity. This hands-on experience fosters essential skills in customer service, inventory management, marketing, and financial literacy.
Hospitality is more than just a job. It's a fulfilling career that can take them around the world, literally, and give them skills that will last a lifetime.
I am excited to see the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism grow and make a difference in our community.
And here's to the future of hospitality in West Michigan.
Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
All righty. Next on our agenda, we have our report from our scholar representative. We have Ms. Fabiola with us tonight. Do you have a report for us?
No report for today.
All right, wonderful. We are at our first opportunity for public comment. Ms. Downs-Lewis, if you will please read our instructions tonight.
Where do I always have to search for it? Isn't that a red sheet? Sorry, I thought I had it. So great, Roseanne should be better than I am. Oh, no, just, hold on. I'm sorry. If there are any individuals present who wish to address the board, please fill out a public comment card located at either entrance of the board chambers. Please also read the rules on the back of the comment card concerning policy and procedure. We have two public comment sections on the agenda. The first one is public comment on board agenda items. Agendas are located by the comment cards. The second public comment opportunity is for commenting on non-agenda items related to the business of the district, but are not topics on the current agenda. If you wish to comment during both public comment opportunities, you will need to fill out separate cards. Individuals must completely fill out the front of the card and indicate the specific business on which they wish to comment. Please submit the completed card at the entranceway, and our board assistant will collect the cards. We ask any speakers to refrain from making abusive statements against board members, employees, volunteers, or contractors. Speakers are encouraged to present complaints about board members, employees, volunteers, or contractors through the appropriate process established under Board Policy 9450 before requesting the board's consideration. The board policies can be found online at grps.org. Individuals will be invited one at a time to the podium to address the board. Before you begin your comment, please state your full name. At that time, we will start the timer, allowing each individual 3 minutes to make the comment. The 1-minute notice will be provided by flagging this red piece of paper. Red card, huh? You'll need to complete your comment time upon being notified that 3 minutes have passed. Board members do not respond to public comment. Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing.
Our first and only for a agenda item is Jane Neiman. You can come down front for us. Thank you.
Good evening, President Williams. It's interesting to look up at you here. Dr. Roby, a little hard to see you. Distinguished members of the board, good evening. My name is Jane Neiman. I'm the Vice President of GREA, a proud teacher here at Union High School. And I wanted to address today, now that we are post-election, I want to first congratulate those who were elected to the school board, and also goodbye to some of those who will be leaving us. As we move forward here in this bargaining year with teachers, I was looking at the personnel report and the financial audit, and I just want to reach out to this board as we move forward into another year and as we get through about the halfway point of this school year soon, that I would like to request that we make sure that by the end of this year that we have a signed contract, that we show that our teachers are valued. There is a lot of, I would like to say, pessimism and depression after some of the election results that we recently saw, but also at the, I would say, slowness of the bargaining process. I know that in the past we used to sit down during complete days for about a week and hash out things that we needed to negotiate, and constantly having to find a night to go negotiate and it dragging out over months and months is very wearying to many of our educators who feel already undervalued. And as healthcare costs increase, there are a lot of concerns that there has not been a sufficient augmentation in salaries to compensate for the cost of inflation, and now with the continuing rise in healthcare. I have heard that there is going to be some effort to raise the hard cap amount in the lame duck, but there is no guarantee that that will happen. So I would like to request that we move to an open bargaining and perhaps consider other methods of bargaining contracts that would be more efficient and effective moving forward. I see that we are having a few more resignations than hires, and this is concerning to me as I represent my members and all of the educators here that work within our bargaining unit. So I humbly implore you to consider maybe discussing those options with us, and that we remember to continue to value the wonderful staff and educational staff that we have here at GRPS that have continued to work so hard for our staff and for their other staff and for the students that they serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Our secretary's report is next.
The Ad Hoc Facilities Committee will take place on Tuesday, November 19th at Franklin Campus in room 112. The City Liaison Board Committee will take place on Thursday, November 21st at Franklin Campus in room 112. Finance Committee will take place on Tuesday, November 26th at Franklin Campus in the auditorium.
And our committee chair report. First, we have our Finance Committee. Ms. Shockey.
We had a brief Finance Committee meeting in October, just reviewed the purchasing agenda, which is in the packet tonight, so I'll take any questions at that time, and that's my report.
All righty. And then we have our conference report out. So we had a few board members attend some conferences for professional learning. And so I will start with Ms. Davis, who went to our MASB conference.
Yes, I attended the delegate assembly on Thursday night prior to the leadership conference starting, and that was my first time attending. We had school board members from all over the state there, and we were voting primarily on amended resolutions to MASB policy. So I did attend the conference on Friday. I attended a couple of sessions on superintendent and board relations, which were beneficial, and I feel like the work we've been doing in the last year especially reminded me of some of the things that were talked about in those meetings. I also attended a wonderful session on onboarding for new school board members, which was very relative to what we are going to experience in less than 2 months. So I got some wonderful information from that session that I'm excited to share with all of you. A school was presenting that just did a thorough process with this a few years ago, and it's been very beneficial for their board. So I know we as a board have been talking quite a bit about how we can better our onboarding process. So some of the things we've been talking about were a part of their plan, but they also had additions that I'm excited to share with all of you. I do want to highlight just the amended policy that was voted on at the delegate assembly, just so you're aware. And then I believe that it would be beneficial for our policy committee to look further into if we want to amend some of our policy based on the recommendations. A lot of the wording is MASB highly suggests that boards adopt a policy. So they're never forcing a board unless it's a law, but lots of highly suggested policy. So the first one was on increasing board member effectiveness, and they changed the wording from promote to endorse and encourage participation in continuing education programs and conferences, and strongly encourages all school boards to adopt policies regarding participation in the MASB's voluntary school board certification. Another policy was on traits of effective school boards, and the change there was that MASB strongly encourages school boards seeking to exemplify these traits look at formally adopting and implementing the Michigan Board of Education governance standards. Inclusive literature was another policy, and this is in regards to libraries in our schools, including age and developmentally appropriate literature. This policy already had wording that reflects all races, ethnicities, religions, abilities, genders, sexual orientation, and gender identities, but they're adding in age and developmentally appropriate. And there's a policy on literacy skills. Change in wording was for, it was for professional development in literacy skills, and they're adding, they're changing it to professional development from in services was the old terminology. And then they are talking about quality and thorough instruction in the science of reading. It used to say adequate instruction. New policy, equity in education. I'm sorry, it's not a new policy. They're adding wording to that says, instead of board members will affirm by their actions, it says board members will foster by their actions the belief that all students can and will learn, instead of each student can, will, and shall learn. So little changes, but impactful. The change of words can be quite impactful. On the policy that says eliminating barriers to learning, they added assuring schools create a supportive and safe school culture. safe and secure schools. In the sentence that says, MASB encourages school officials to develop school emergency operation response plans, they added the word robust school emergency operations response plans. And where it says plans should include a risk assessment, they changed it to risk and threat assessment. For school bus safety, they added that we consider alternative fuel, hybrid, or electric school buses. And they encourage school bus security and safety cameras to be added. Under healthful nutrition, they added that there should be an emphasis placed on protein and healthy fats, which are needed for proper brain and body functions, and carbohydrates and refined sugars should be limited. Just a couple more. Health curriculum and policies, they added, in addition, school health policies should focus on, they have a list, but they added one is age-appropriate techniques to recognize child sexual abuse and confide in a trusted adult as outlined by Aaron's Law. And the last one is under educational research and program evaluation. They just changed the dates because that's something that should be ongoing instead of being limited by a date. So that was interesting to be a part of that. School boards from all over the state voted on those, and just to hear the insight gathered, because things were changed on the spot based on expertise of different board members, and that was very cool. I had never done that before, and the conference the next day was wonderful because I was able to talk to board members from all over the state and gather some ideas and be confirmed in some of the wonderful things that we already are working on. So I appreciate the opportunity to attend.
Okay, wonderful. And then we'll talk to Mr. Rodriguez about his experience with our CUBE conference. Then we'll go to Ms. Wade.
Hi, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Is that good? Okay. So, yeah, we got a chance to go to Las Vegas, and we went to the CUBE conference, which is the Council of Urban Boards of Education, and that's through the National School Board Association. And so there was, I'll say, in the room where everyone gathered, at least 600, 700 folks. So it was a pretty big conference. I went to a lot of breakout sessions. I could sit here and talk about them all day, but I'm just going to talk about three that were really, that I thought were really great. The first one was strategic collaboration, utilizing the school board, equity council, and district leadership to advance goals. And so this was an initiative started after the Utah State Board of Education passed a resolution in 2021 denouncing racism and embracing equity in Utah schools. From there, they created the District and Community Advisory Council on Equity, which is the DCACE. I think both are a mouthful, but you know, they use the acronym. But from there, they started what they call a portrait of a graduate that broke down what a student might need to be successful through graduation. And then from that portrait of a graduate, they created subcommittees such as student discipline, family engagement, staff diversity, pathways and opportunities, and created, again, those subcommittees with 12 members that were staff, community members, and students, all to kind of work together to accomplish these goals that they set out to have with a portrait of a graduate. Some of these things were aspiring leadership academies where they strategically recruited employees by career goals. Employees set annual goals with their supervisor and documented career aspirations. And then later on, they'd have, for PD, they had Education Support Professionals Annual Conference where they would look back at those goals. And then staff could choose a breakout session aligned with what they aspired to become within the district. So it was, you know, kind of grow your own, you know, develop staff within our already existing staff to develop their careers internally. And so that one was really great. And I'm going to put this all on an email because I would love to share more with you all. There's a lot to share. But then the second one was reclaiming the narrative about educational equity and why it matters for every student. This one I think is particularly useful right now in the time that we're going to find ourselves in the next few years, about what is equity in education, why does it matter, and how do we discuss it without letting there be misinformation in the mix of those conversations. So we talked about the resistance movement to Brown versus Board of Education, and it didn't apply to private schools, and we talked about all these resolutions passed by Southern legislatures to evade desegregation. And so I think that it was a pertinent conversation to have again as we start to deal with more of these issues with school choice and voucher programs throughout our country. And then finally, another breakout session was called the Seat of Power, a district-wide approach to creating space for student voice. And now SEAT in that title stands for Student Equity Advisory Team. And I know that we have a Superintendent Advisory Council, and so I was really excited to see kind of the mirroring of this work. But one of the conversations we had was, some folks that were other board members from around the country said, I didn't think I had students like that in my school district that would want to have that leadership role. And so we talked about, like, how do you find those students? How do you find them and then build them up to be leaders in their own community? And so this kind of brought some work that we're doing within the district, but also, things like the Student Association for Leadership and Transformation through UCC, kind of the work that both of them are doing, and it almost kind of melded it together. And we talked about how when students believe they have a voice, just the benefits that come from that, 40% more likely to report being academically motivated, 37% more likely to report having purpose, 41% more likely to report experiencing engagement in school. And so all of these things really benefit our students simply for the fact that they felt that they had a voice in the decisions that are made within their district. And then finally, that breakout session ended in talking about how we look at leadership within our student body. It can't just be students that have no tardies and no absences. It's got to be students that because for a lot of students that have good grades, that have good attendance, the system is already working for them. And so we have to look at what students are falling through the cracks, right? What students have something to say about the systems in place that maybe don't serve them in the best way, and how do we improve those alongside our students? And so that was 3 of the breakout sessions that I went to. I had a really great time, and I'll send an email with more information.
Thank you, Jose. He said what I was going to say. So yeah, I went to some really cool sessions too, and some of the same messages I did pull from those. I enjoyed the fireside chat with the ladies from Living Single. If you know, you know. Kim Coles, Erica Alexander, and Kim Fields were there discussing they shared their learning journey as a student and as a parent, and it was just good to hear from, I would say, regular people, right? Parents and people who have had opportunities for their children that not everybody has, but they're still parents and they still were students at one point. So one of the theme that I got from that was that we get better outcomes when all children feel seen, safe, and validated. And they expressed that in how they were able to navigate the educational system for their children and find places for them to learn that actually help their child's passions, help them express their passion through school. And it made me just think about a lot of our different opportunities to learn that GRPS offers. Also went to a session called Policy and that Demands Equity, ensuring that all students have the school they deserve, right? Same theme, it encouraged me to continue to support mirroring our district. That's some of our master plan is that schools on the northeast side mirror the schools schools on the southeast side can mirror the schools on the northeast side. So making sure that our students all have access to the same types of theme schools, and they don't have to go across the city to get to them. So I'm excited to see some of that work play out in our FMP. I also went to a session called Collaboration for Student Success and Educator Retention. And this was all about, obviously, collaborating with stakeholders and being transparent with community and school boards and making sure that we are working together to provide successful outcomes for our students and also our teachers. And I think that, well, I do think this, but this was another theme that came out of it, was that there are a lot of positive outcomes when we come together for our students. And so it's basically encouraging us to continue to collaborate with our, I'm looking right at you guys, teacher, unions. Yes, there you go. Unions, our school board, our community partners, and making sure that we're working together for the student, not for our adult wishes and our dreams and aspirations, but keeping the student centered in all the work we do. And when we do that, our teachers actually reap those benefits as well. And I also learned that Las Vegas can get cold.
All righty. I also attended this conference where we engaged school board members from all over the country as well as the Caribbean. Gil Garrett, who is the current chair of the council, he really was kind of giving us some thoughts and insights about his experience having been the leader and what the current state is of urban school boards. Followed by that, I attended a workshop about Sparks, and there was leveraging funding. And really in this, throughout the conference, just equity was woven all through the conversation, but this was particular to talk about equity in the space of leveraging investment of funds in our facilities, and to do that through an equity lens, and that we are making sure that we are trying to do that in a fashion that benefits the districts, not just for today, but for the future. Many of them are right sizing just like we are, and there was insight shared with us as to how we can really try to leverage the properties that we have so that we can gain income from those, and that is something that can really set up urban school board districts to be able to have more charge of the income that we have, and not just so reliant on our state and federal partners for the and city. We get city tax too, so for our funding. Also, I attended a workshop that was hosted by Dr. Teresa Hill out of Illinois, where she was really talking about now that you have created this great policy, how do you make sure that policy created becomes the practice? And so some of the things that she talked about was that policy can create focus, clarity, support, information and engagement, and it can help mitigate. But she also clarified that great policy, even as great as it can be, it cannot change deeply held beliefs. It cannot change or overcompensate for the lack of skills or pedagogy. It cannot change test scores. It cannot change issues around race, outcomes around race and ethnic backgrounds, or again, even community harmony. So while we want to do our best work and we want to think we can do all of this stuff with policy changes, and we have all been a part of that work, and we're really hoping that our policy has long-term impact in ways that we want. But even with that, it is clear that it can't do everything. And so we really have to be intentional to say, know what our limits are, but also make sure that the rolecy that we put in place can be put into practice. So that is my brief summary from the conference. Dr. Roby, next we have our foundations report.
So I'm going to invite Ms. Stephanie Andrews, CEO and President of GRPS Foundation, as well as Ms. Bridget Cheney to come forward to talk about the GRPS Foundation.
Do not fall. Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Williams, trustees. I'm excited to be here and share some fun news. In 3 short weeks, Turkey Trot will be here. I don't know how many of you are registered, but if you are, you're one of over 3,000 that's registered so far. And we do get most of the amount of registrants in the last 2 to 3 weeks before the event. So we expect we're ahead of schedule for where we were last year. And we've raised over $104,000 to date with 12 brand new sponsors and over 30 sponsors overall. So we're very excited for that piece of that. I want to give you an update. Last time I was here, we talked about our annual Foundation for the Future event that was happening the same week of this board meeting. And I want to thank Fabiola for being our student voice on stage and sharing her message and bringing her father to the event. She did an amazing job, and we were so proud to have her on stage. So thank you again for that. Those are my things off the top of my head. I wanted to share that the Grand Rapids Sports Hall of Fame sent an email today and let us know that they'll be donating $10,000 from their golf outing to our sports teams this year. So I'm excited to be able to write that check and have even more things happen for GRPS sports. And as we're talking about partnerships, we have moved forward with the updated opportunity for a new weight room at City Middle High. All the partners met last week and walked through, and that will be happening sometime this spring, I believe is the time frame for that. And 2 last things, we did our very first volunteer playground cleanup, planted 5 trees, we painted new 4 square games, and we cleaned up the playground and grounds at Dickinson Park with some volunteers from RDV and OAP. And we hope that that's just one of many that we hope to do this spring and continue to bring in volunteers, alumni, and corporate partners to just work with the schools and do some fun things to beautify the grounds. And finally, my board president and I have been visiting schools just to introduce ourselves, let them know that we're available. And we have visited 17 schools to date, which I think has really helped us increase our teacher and mini grants requests. We had 49 teachers apply, 21 principals apply, and we are going to be looking to award those at our board meeting tomorrow. And we believe that we'll be giving away close to $30,000 to both teachers and principals. Some of the requests, one of them is actually to help host a musical here on this stage for Union High School. We're very excited to see that. The teacher requests that we got are all over the board and really exciting, innovative, everything from starting brand new after-school clubs that teachers want to actively manage and participate and get student involvement, to gardening, new gardens at schools. So it's really exciting to see all the different requests that we're getting from both principals and teachers. And Bridget is a part of those, as well as Rhonda, to go through them with us. So it's really great to have all the different eyes on it and just look at what opportunities there are and how to collaborate and solve problems, and also bring in other community partners that teachers and principals might not be aware that there's other resources.
Yeah, all good work. Looking forward to the board meeting tomorrow.
Thank you. Gobble, gobble.
Yeah, right.
What is it, move your feet before you eat?
Yes, exactly.
And thank you for the work you continuously do for the district. I think that's really important to get the opportunity to uplift that. You come in as a partner with the district, and especially our scholars benefit the most, but the also additional pouring that you give to the administration, the team, and the staff is greatly appreciated, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report.
All right, so every quarter we have several different reports, and we are going to begin with Mr. Johnson with a public safety quarterly update.
Right arrow.
Thank you. Good evening again, President Williams, Dr. Roby, and remaining board members. This is our quarterly report for safety and security. Again, all of our reports and all of our work will align with the priority scholar outcomes as outlined by this board. Tonight, we are going to be focused again on meeting the holistic student needs and also creating a culture of trust, collaboration, and stewardship. In our work, we try to align our work under the 5 phases of emergency management, being prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. Tonight, we are focusing on physical security, which falls upon the prevention and preparation. In aligning our framework for comprehensive school safety, it's a layered approach, which includes a multitude of things and departments. Tonight, the physical safety and security, which primarily falls upon our leadership, is where we will focus on tonight. But we want to celebrate some work that our team has been working on and has been doing in the community at the request of this board. To date, we've distributed over 500 gun locks at various district events as well as community events. Additional literature has been distributed to parents and attendees to those events. We are increasing our presence at PTO and PTA meetings. And our team officers, teaching, educating, and mentoring officers, are scheduling classroom presentations focusing on gun safety for youth. We recently posted a PowerPoint presentation on our district's website, the security page, that lists information for both parents and for students on information about safe gun storage. And we will continue working with law enforcement to establish the proper MOUs that support our work and ensure that we are following all legal laws related to the release of information and as we support our scholars. So let's dig into some of the security, physical security work that we are currently involved in. And this is just a snapshot of a small portion of work that we're doing in the district, and we just want to focus on physical security. Our work, camera projects. We have been involved in an ongoing camera project in the district. We're proud to say that currently about 66% of all of our buildings have now cameras. Those camera systems are coming up almost daily in the district. We have 5% that are in active planning, 11% in active design, 5% that is in design stage, and we're holding on 13%. Again, all of our physical security work, if we want, in the buildings that we touch, we want to touch buildings that have scholars in the buildings first. So when we look at a building where we're holding on work, it's holding on some buildings that are vacant buildings, and where we are not sure yet what our pathway will be for those buildings. So buildings such as Alexander or Beckwith, and then some of our ancillary buildings where there's no scholars are the buildings that we're holding on because we want to put our work where the scholars are. Second is asset control, the access control upgrades. Let me say first that all of our buildings, we are 100% access controlled, card access in all of our buildings. However, we've reached end of life on that project. So we're right now in the active planning, about 94% of our buildings with no planning in about 6% of those buildings. Again, once again, we're talking about some vacant buildings that we're not going to move forward with plans with. We're going to put our work into the buildings that we're occupying, and the focus will be on those buildings with scholars first. The current system that we utilize is called PCSC. That system is no longer able to meet the needs of the integration that we would like to see as we talk to our cameras, as the card access talk to our cameras and give us more control of the system in-house rather than doing that work ex-house. So out of house. So Craig and I have been working with several vendors and meeting with vendors and interviewing vendors, trying to select what is the good match for Grand Rapids Public Schools. And this is probably a 24 to 36 month project to get all of our buildings over to a new system once we select a new vendor with this project. But I want to stress that currently 100% of our buildings currently have card access, a working card access system. This is a 35-year-old system that we're hoping to upgrade. Then I work on critical incident mapping, and we're really excited about the critical incident mapping program. 67% of our projects have been done, and again, our focus has been on scholar-occupied buildings. 19% of those buildings are in design, and we have an active design in about 7%, and then those buildings, about 7% of the buildings are offline buildings that we will not touch. Again, if you look at the models or the layouts there, the one to my right, I think you're right, is currently what a map would look like. The one to the left would be a critical incident mapping building, which will show all of our fire pull stations, the location of AEDs. We can go into this model and look into this from a 3D standpoint. It'll tie into our camera system as well. And so it just gives us much more information and allows emergency personnel to pinpoint an emergency in the building much faster. This system would be downloaded into the police CAD system, and this is something that was required by the state, and all schools is doing this. It'd be loaded down into the CAD system, and so if the police were to have a critical incident in a school, they can then pull up our buildings right from their CAD system and get additional information. But not just the police, but fire and EMS as well. So it's a much more robust system with a ledger that allows for the identification of key assets within the building and an oversight or an aerial photos of the buildings as well that will be attached. So it's a real step in the right direction. Then our security entryway projects, again, 81% of our buildings have been completed. Again, the focus is always on those buildings where scholars are located. We have about 11% of non-scholar sites that that we have not completed yet. 2% of our buildings are in holding pattern, 2% is in active construction, and 4% active design. And so we have some projects, some remodel projects that's coming on board. We have just a couple buildings that we're actively involved in construction right now. Just across the parking lot here at Westwood, we're working on a pretty significant secure entryway at that location as well. And our goal is to get all of our buildings into a secured entryway pattern. And those buildings that we are not focused on, again, are the buildings on Franklin campus, food service, or the operations building. Again, our focus has to be the buildings where we have scholars located. And our Raptor Visitor Management System, and this is a project that we started in our elementary buildings. We have now moved in some of our K-8 buildings, and our intent to move by the end of this school year, by end of this calendar year, into our high schools. 61% of our buildings have been completed. 13% of the buildings we're not doing. Again, that's it relates back to those buildings that we are not occupying. 9% and we're holding on, and then 17% is in active design, and we're in the active design phase for those programs. And we hope to have the Raptor Visitor Management System and totally installed in all of our buildings by the end of this school year or end of this calendar year. And there's some other modules within that program that we hope to turn on as we learn more about that system as well. And then our two-way radio systems, we have over between 450 and 500 two-way radios in our system right now. And 450 of those are portable radios. About 50 of those are mounted in either security vehicles or maintenance and operation vehicles. But 35% are in our elementary buildings, 15% in the K-8 buildings, about 12% in middle schools, 18% of our high schools, and other would be security, operations, family support, I think, truancy is family support. So the other ancillary groups that help support. We used to try to keep the 20 to 30 radios in stock for a breakdown, but we've made a decision to put all of our resources and assets into the building to utilize them because there was a reoccurring cost for batteries that was burning out for radios that were not being used. And so they're being used. We increased the number in our elementary buildings this year based upon requests from those principals. They wanted to get the radios in the offices of our nurses, other staff members that are moving around the building. So we made that happen this year. And then some of our officers' commitment, and just some of the events that our officers have covered. This between August 12th and November 9th, this is 161 events covered, 149 events at the university, 181 athletic events have been covered, for a total of 491 events. Now, this does not include their normal work day. This is all activities outside of the work day, and this is pretty remarkable considering we're short with personnel as well. But they're continuing to cover events to make sure that our scholars, our families, our stakeholders have a safe environment to participate in. And our guys just love being on site at these programs, and we'll continue to cover them through the winter months as well. And then how can the BOE and the staff continue to help us? Again, just continue to celebrate our scholars' growth and success. We want to continue to uplift our officers and the department's success, and join us in promoting the importance of homeschool and community connections. We'll continue to try to work with community partners. We understand the value in that. Met with some important community partners this week, on today, that want to do some additional work. It was exciting just a couple weeks ago to go to the City of Grand Rapids' pitch night, and I think they had 23 pitches, and I think about 16 of those talked about doing work with Grand Rapids Public Schools, and so we're excited about that. And then finally, we want you to continue to attend some of the offered trainings and be able to ask more questions and look at and dig into the process and procedures. This past Saturday, we had over 50 staff members who attended the Advanced School Safety Academy on their own time, and just to get more information, and so we invite you to attend as well. We have none left this year, but we will have a couple in the next calendar year, and we would love to see your presence, so you can dig into the process and ask a little bit more questions. Okay. That's it.
Questions, colleagues?
Yes, I have a couple questions for you. Previously, we had some teachers and administrators that came and spoke in regards to some of the systems either not working or they're not being trained on it. And so my question for you is twofold. One, how often are those systems either routinely maintained and or checked for that? And then two, is there cross-training across that, or what is the training that looks like for those forms of communication?
I'm not sure what systems we're referring to, Mr. Eatman.
The two-way radio systems.
Two-way radio systems these radios are brand new. I mean, well, about 4 or 5 years old. We take them in every year to get them serviced. So they are working, multiple channels, I think 12 to 14 channels on each radio, with a frequency that a teacher or principal can come direct to our office. And then we also this year installed what we call a critical incident radio in every school building, every building that the district owns. And that radio allows, by the hitting of a red button, they can go direct to the Grand Rapids Police Dispatch and dispatch and ask for assistance right through them. So we check those radios when we do our emergency drills. We're checking the radios to make sure they're working. And anytime we have a repair process in place, and so our officers are picking up radios, bringing them in, we're dropping them off the shop and bringing a rotated radio back to them. So,
thank you. And then I was just looking at the slide that you have with the number of events covered, 161, 149, 188, with a total of 491 from August to November, which is a lot to cover with the small team that you have. So I guess my question for you is really around, like, what are the efforts to, I guess, expand or attract, so that way that weight on your team is not felt with the shortage that you have?
We don't have any problem maintaining. Folks come on and they stay once we find individuals that want to make the commitment. We're getting ready to go into a hiring process right now because we train in an academy style. It's difficult to just, in some positions where they can hire daily, it's very difficult for us to hire daily because the amount of training and work we put into them up front. And so we're hoping to bring on 3 to 4 individuals before that will start about January, if we can start processing and interviewing right now, because it'll take that long to get them processed through.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. You had mentioned that about 50 people came out on Saturday on their own time to get additional information, so that's great. Where is the base of the information then coming for those that need training on the procedures?
I don't understand your question.
So if they're coming to get additional information, you said Saturday?
Yes.
So that's not their base training?
No, their base training comes at the start of the school year. We still do our Tuesday trainings every second Tuesday of every month, and we push in the buildings. When asked to come in the building, we'll work with a building administrator to get information. We send out blurbs, leadership blurbs every week, and so there's a variety of ways that we try to push out training to staff.
So just so I understand, the manual has been updated, so the procedures and all of that have been updated, and everyone's been trained at this point, and just
That is
some
not
people
correct.
got, oh,
No, that is not correct. The manual, we're currently working with our vendor. We have reviewed and edited the manual, and there's a long process to get to this. I heard one of the board members talking about I think it was Mrs. Davis talking about some recommendations that was coming out from the board, from the state board members. But there was also a huge recommendation that came out from the Michigan Safe Schools office that we wanted to incorporate all those changes in as well. So there's a lot of work that's being done, and we hope to start bringing a draft back. But once that draft comes back, there's a committee that we need to pull together internally so that we can get an internal voice. It's important to get our mental health folks, our nurses, our operational folks, to get, and some external voices, police, fire, EMS, all of those voices in that book before that book is finalized.
so currently, are we still using last year's manual
Yes, we
for
are.
safety and for?
Yes, we are.
Thanks.
Yes.
Just following up on Trustee Melton's question, so you mentioned the draft coming back in front of a committee. So that's not a committee that currently exists. It'll be established to just revise the new manual?
There will be a committee for the revisement of the book that we will pull together, yes.
Okay. And do we, I guess this is also for Dr. Roby, do we have a committee that kind of revises that regularly? Is this a committee that will be a standing committee, or will it be like an ad hoc style committee?
Currently, our team, we work with the police department. There's a Kent County School Security Directors Coalition that meets every year, well, more than every year, meet every month, and we update our books, review our books. So our books are reviewed annually, but this is one of the first major updates we've had in many years. And this is going across the county right now, across the state, actually, where everyone's updating their books based on some recommendations from the Office of Safe Schools and the Governor's Task Force.
Okay, thank you.
Will you, because it's a new committee and what you'll be forming, will there be seats for either student, teacher, and/or community members to sit there and also aid in that? I've seen how collectively those type of advisory boards or boards that have different seats for the different users' experience and how they play into that could be lucrative and informative.
We would want some external voices to look at our books, some folks that have some knowledge and that can help us guide through. We want to also be careful that it is an emergency operations plan, that you do not want your emergency operations plan posted out to the entire community.
All right. Dr. Roby, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will ask Mr. Philip Green to come up, and he is our Director of Food and Nutrition Services, and he'll provide a quarterly update.
I don't need these real close, okay. President Williams, Dr. Roby, distinguished board members, thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight and update you on some of the exciting things that we feel we have going on with food and nutrition services. Basically, we'll be focusing on the strategic themes of 1, 3, and 6, which include meeting the holistic student needs, ensure equitable access and outcomes, and creating a culture of trust, collaboration, and stewardship. We have been honored with another opportunity to be a recipient of the 10 cents a meal grant. That was something was different from last year where we actually had to apply. It was not a carte blanche type of situation where funds were just given out. We had to apply for the funds, and we were granted $103,000 for this program. So those are matching funds to buy local produce for our scholars and add those items to the menus. Stakeholder engagement. We want to definitely be involved with our stakeholders. Our Superintendent Scholar Advisory Board, I will be meeting with them. I haven't scheduled that yet, to be honest with you, but I will be scheduling that. We have surveys planned. We're looking for our first survey, again, to follow up in December. Because we're waiting on a number of new items that are coming out from the manufacturers that we can survey and test with the scholars prior to putting it on the menu.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
advance your slide.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. Thank you. We are also engaged in taste testing events. We just recently tested an item called a Three Little Birds granola. We tested that at a number of different schools with yogurt. It went over very well. One of the schools we tested was North Park as well as Dickinson. So those are the two. In the next 2 weeks, we are planning to test that at MLK, Brookside, Harrison, and Palmer also. So it is our goal to rotate amongst the schools to make sure we can try to get to as many schools as we can to test different items. I will be attending a PALS meeting tomorrow to present on school nutrition in our department. We'll actually be there for a meeting at 9:30 a.m. and another meeting with parents at 5:30 p.m. We're very excited about our new menu items that we've had so far for the 24-25 school year.
Advance.
Oh, geez. Thank you. Okay. I'm getting too excited up here. Oh, sorry. I apologize. Our pumpkin bread, orange chicken, I won't go through all those items, but we are constantly looking for new items that we can add to the menus that we can have the manufacturers come in. A lot of these items they bring into our managers meeting at the Nutrition Center. We try it with the managers, supervisors to get their feedback, and then we look to go out and test that at some of the schools. The last point there, sweet cherries, we just made a major purchase of tart dark cherries from Peterson Farms, which is a local produce organization in Shelby, Michigan. So that was almost a truckload of product that we purchased for that. And we'll be using that as we move forward on our salad bars, smoothies. We're going to find different ways to make sure we use those cherries. I got it. Okay. These are also some upcoming new items for the 24-25 school year that we are looking at. Sausage and cheese stuffed waffle, a cheeseburger calzone, chicken and waffle, butternut squash, red and green Jolly sidekicks. And if you don't know what a sidekick is, it's a frozen, not Jell-O, but it's like a frozen ice in a cup. And we try to get those to match up with the holidays that we're serving those items. Okay. Kids like those. We let them thaw for a little while, and they really like those items. Our commissary kitchen, again, these are some slides from before, but we constantly are adding new breakfast sandwiches. To be honest with you, one of the areas that we have more of an issue on with manufacturers is finding new breakfast items. So we try to develop some of these different sandwiches using different biscuits, croissants, those type of things in our commissary kitchen to offer additional items available to the scholars, different salads. We have some vegetarian items also. Many of the middle schools and high schools have actual sections where they have signs up that says vegetarian, or the salad is actually inclusive of the serving line or via the separate salad bar. And we're continuing to work on different subs also. The barbecue wrap has been going over very well. Okay. Just to give you an idea of where we are year to date, our meal counts, we're currently up a total of 4%. For the year, 6% up on lunch, and 2% up versus prior year on our breakfast. Upcoming projects, Of course, you all are aware of the Sigsbee kitchen remodel. We are expanding the number of menu monitors that we're putting in some of the elementary schools. And what the menu monitors are, it'll have the menus up there, of course, but it'll have some fun facts for the scholars. Could be, I don't know, Teacher's Day or something. There's sometime where we put that information up there. And sometimes we have like a quiz type of question to see if the scholars can answer those questions. And we will also, cafeteria signage, we're looking more at not just signs, but something to promote the mascots, the school themes that we can put on either coolers or up on the wall. So we're looking to enhance that experience for the scholars in the eating area. And also on a note for our actual building, we're looking at updating our service software upgrades on how we count meals and report that back to the state. Just a basic list of our expenditures, which of course is food, supplies, equipment repairs. We're still looking for funding, grant funding. We would like to get another sandwich wrapping machine, which does a very good job of taking the sandwich and sealing it up, and it really looks good for the scholars. And we're also looking for funding again for the commercial blenders, and we're looking for grants we're trying to get hot chocolate machines in some of the schools, which is basically just heating up the chocolate milk, but it's nice. So we're looking for additional grant funding to cover some of the expenses of some of the other equipment that we're looking for. And that was it.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions
Yes.
for you. Thank you for the presentation. It's definitely great to see some progress in this area. I do have a few questions related to the last time we were here. We mentioned regarding the surveys and surveys that the students have, and some of the surveys that they spoke about were either not visible and or they did not see where the surveys were. So my first question is, have you addressed the locations of where you're receiving or asking for feedback for the students to give that? And then the second part of that is that data, now it's been about 2 years since you talked about that survey data. What does that data say? I don't think we've seen those questions come in a format to us up here where we can actually see what those students are stating. And so what is that? What are they stating that they want to see in that regards?
Well, that's a good question. First of all, we have had meetings with individuals in the communications department, and we have talked about different ideas of the QR codes, where they're located, how can we communicate that to the scholars. We've talked about having that, a scannable QR code right in the cafeteria. We've talked about having it distributed throughout the school on paper. So different ways to make sure that we get more people with that UR code, because most of them are either going to have a phone or something where they can scan that and then give that data. Now, to answer your question regarding the data, I would have to work with communications. We'd have to go back, look at those surveys. We can recap that, and we can provide that information if that's what, what you're looking for.
So has that data that has been collected, was that used to inform you and the department in regards to the changes that you want to see? I'm thinking about that because, for instance, I'm assuming the bat-shaped nuggets, and not necessarily bat nuggets. Were these items vetted by those students or any former students? Were these items selected in comparison to what that data spoke about that we haven't been able to see? I'm trying to figure out what is the relationship between what we see here versus what was stated.
That particular item was not. We were just trying to match that up with Halloween and have that, bat-shaped nugget. We know nuggets are very popular with the scholars. Feedback I received from the superintendent's advisory board, which I was very surprised that some of the older students mentioned they wanted the hash browns that were shaped like stars. And I was really surprised with that because they were older, in high school, and we did go back to putting that back on the menu. So we are listening to the scholars that are providing this feedback and trying to make those changes. Another example is last year, I think we took the scholars to the Gordon Foods Show down at Van Andel, and they mentioned different, all the vendors there, of adding some different flavored juices to the line. So we did take that, we take that advisement, and we start adding those items back to either the menus or on the line, or as add-ons to the menu.
So with the particular items that you listed here earlier in regards to the new items, those have not been necessarily vetted or taste tested by the scholars?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And before we went too much into an investment in these new things, part of your presentation was that you plan on having that taste test, and then we'll redo what if that doesn't come back good and we are
Yes.
put this investment
Yes.
in?
One of the things, we can't taste test all the items, because normally what the national data shows is that it takes 2 or 3 times for that item to be on the menu before the scholars really make a decision of whether they like that item or not.
I think one of the things to lift up, Mr. Green, is that items also have been removed when, based around if it's not well on a day, and I'm pick whatever the item is, that a lot of kids opt out and not eat that particular item after a couple of times. They've done that as well. So there's some other kind of anecdotal data of, and I don't know if, I mean, you can certainly be able to better versed on saying we've removed this item or that item because it wasn't well received.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first time around, if we get feedback from the cooks that say, listen, they did not like that item, it's basically gone. So we make changes right away based upon feedback we receive from the students, as well as the cooks who really pay attention. I mean, if they're throwing half of it away, we know that that's not a good item, and we make adjustments to those menus.
So I'm happy to see that there's new items on the way. My concern / caution is the aspect of we're asking them for data and feedback, right? We're asking the scholars to give their feedback on certain items and how we want to walk alongside them. And I just want to see that be something that we actually honor. If we're taking their voices and doing that before we make large purchases towards any new items, how is that being vetted if we're asking them for their opinion on that?
Right.
And then we purchase new things that we are pretty much in the dark, not knowing if it's going to be successful, when we can taste test those things ahead of time.
Correct. And to your point, thank you for that. We have 5 new items that are coming in that are slated to be tested prior to going on the menu. We're just waiting for the samples to come in so we can schedule the taste testing at the schools.
Thank you.
Can you just speak for a quick minute about allergies? I know there are a couple of families I've been working with, even things like red dye has really been an issue, but I'm sure the larger things like dairy and gluten. But can you speak to how you're responding to those specific family needs?
Well, first of all, what we request for the parents is to fill out a form and either present that to the school office or to the nurse if there's one in the school. That information is then communicated to us, and I can say the dietitian has a very thick book of allergies and things that we have to pay attention to. So that's the first step. A lot of times we deal with things that are a preference versus an actually item that they're allergic to.
Yeah, I'm just speaking about allergies. Is there what is the mechanism for ensuring that that is taken care of at the school level?
Well, we have that information is put in the NutriSlice, which is our menu development software. We also have menus that go out to the schools. The dietitian takes an enormous amount of time to cross out items. She sends out more than one menu. Could be one that is gluten-free, one that has a protein deficiency. She's making the changes on those menus, and the cooks are aware of what students are coming through that line and what those, the special needs are.
So, I was just going to say, I don't have a question necessarily, but just going off of Trustee Melton's comment is, so I think as we become more aware of these dietary restrictions, and some may be preference. I myself am lactose intolerant and gluten intolerant, so I have to watch what I eat. I don't always, but I do know that in looking it up, I actually just pulled up the stats right now, is 65% of Latino students and 75% of Black students are lactose intolerant. And so while we may not know, like, they may affect them at different levels, right? Mm-hmm. Some students may not even know. And I just wonder, how could that, eating those foods, right, affect their mood, affect their energy levels throughout the day? And not even, I don't have a question, but just something for all of us to consider is, without all of those diagnoses happening, right, and as we offer very large amounts of foods with lactose and we offer milk to drink, I just wonder how that affects our students on the day-to-day. So I'm not just thinking about some stuff out loud.
Okay.
Dr. Roby? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, and our final superintendent report presentation is related to bond construction updates, and so I will ask Mr. Alex Smart to come forward to provide an update related to our projects.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Williams, board members, good to see you. We've been very, very busy, so I'll try to keep it concise to the projects that are very active right now. And of course, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. The active construction and projects are out for bids right now. It's just a short list right here. We're still working on the Sibley renovation project, which is going to be phase 2. Same thing applies to Coit renovation, will be phase 2. And we're very excited about kicking off 6B, the 6B project. Houseman Field and Briggs Field projects that are out for bids. And we just received bids for the multiple parking lot projects. Under design, as you can see on the slide, we're working on the auditorium at Central, the New Aberdeen, and the Riverside Montessori projects. Sibley. We actually have been able to get ahead of this project a little bit, and that's a good thing because it's going to make the work in the summer a little bit lighter. Ongoing, we are working on the roof pavers. You can see right there we're showing a little bit of the snow melt system that we have there, and we're anticipating this project to be completed yet this week. We were able to get the boilers completed a week or two ago, so that's off the list for now. And in December, we are planning on actually starting and doing the temperature control replacement. That's something that we originally were planning on doing next summer. But we have a window and the products available for us to be able to just get ahead of that. Of course, we're working with the school staff, make sure that we are not interrupting any school work. And primarily, the work is going to happen after school. It's out in those few weeks. In the spring, we will be installing the new drinking fountains. And to make you aware, if you haven't heard yet, there is a new mandate in the state for us to improve the drinking fountains and the drinking points in our buildings to be filtered. So that's a project that is growing all throughout the district. So as we work into projects like Sibley and Coit, we are taking that opportunity to replace the drinking fountains. And we'll be wrapping up the project in the summer with the lighting replacement and completing some of the finishes in the first floor. Any questions on Sibley?
Not a question, but a comment. Anytime you can be ahead of schedule for construction, that's a good thing.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen that often.
That's why I say it's a good thing.
COIT, the ongoing work that we have is putting some finishing touches in the boiler replacement. That's pretty much done. And we're waiting for our holiday break to complete the dance floor and some of the exterior doors that we're going to be replacing. For the summer, that's going to be the big one. And we have a lot of work to get done this summer. The HVAC upgrades, of course, and controls, that's the largest portion, and lighting upgrades. We are also doing the lighting resurfacing, parking lot resurfacing, and we had recently a meeting with the City of Grand Rapids where we were able to reach an understanding as to what we wanted to do as it works with the zoning requirements. We have a very good relationship with the city. We try to do everything we can to meet the regulations as often as we can, but they also understand that as a school entity we're also exempt, but we're good neighbors, so we work well. And a couple of the small things that we will be doing is the staff and parents did ask for a toilet room accessible to the gymnasium because they use that for events. So we were able to include that in the project and renovate. And I apologize for a typo there. It says Office R. It should be area renovation. So missing a letter there. And that should be wrapping up the COI project this summer. 6B, as soon as this board approves the project that we have presented to you for approval today, our contractors are ready to start working as soon as tomorrow, as soon as we finish the paperwork. Some of the things that, well, first thing we need to do is abatement, and the contractor is ready to start that abatement. We've already provided all the paperwork to the state for us to do that. And they are ready to take possession of the building as soon as tomorrow. The significant work that we're doing there, of course, is new HVAC and controls for the entire building. We have lighting upgrades, interior finishes, and some interior space reconfigurations. In fact, the picture that you see there is a new area for lockers that we identified that is accessible to the students. And as we heard earlier, Phil mentioned that we're doing a new kitchen right there. We're going to improve the pass-through and bring some new equipment and upgrade the gym. One of the things that we found that is new and is going to be new to you, as I tell you today, is that we are required now, the state came back with their comments and they want us to sprinkle the building. So we will be providing fire suppression for this building. In a way, it actually gives us more flexibility in the future. So it's a good investment for us to do so right now. So originally we were not planning on that, but we anticipated that it could be some extra work, so we did have allowances in the project, so we're within budget. So I know you like to hear that. Houseman Field, we're expecting the bids on the 13th. As you can see there, for both projects, we were able to put it out for bids for as a combined project. Contractors, we can choose to give it to one or two separate contractors, but we're bidding them that way. And as you have heard before, we have the track, we have the turf replacement and the grass field replacement at Briggs, and some masonry restoration as well as lighting upgrades and new toilet rooms at Briggs. So there are some other miscellaneous things like fences and things like that we'll take the opportunity to do. And that brings us to the last group of projects, which is the multiple parking lots. We received bids on the 6th, and they did come below what we expected, so that's also good news. We were expecting about $1.8 million for all 6, and it came about 1.4. We still have to do some accounting because we have some other projects that we need to consider. We have limited funds, and I know Ms. Cribbs is not going to let me spend any more money than she said I can spend, so I have to keep it right within budget. So we're going to do some evaluations of projects and then make the determination as to which of these projects we can or cannot do. Hopefully, we can do them all. But we have a priority based, obviously, on the condition of the project. Some of them are in pretty bad shape, so we'll make sure that we get those done. And that is the conclusion of my quick presentation. If you have any questions.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That concludes my reports.
All righty. Now we have our action items, and the first we have up is our purchasing agenda. Colleagues, are there questions with regards to the purchasing agenda? If there are no questions, is there a motion to approve our purchasing agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All righty. Next, we have our annual banking and investment resolution. Any questions with regards to this? Is there a motion to approve our annual banking and investment resolution?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? And then last, we have our annual summer school property tax resolution. Any questions with regards to this? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Next, we need the approval of our consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, we have moved on. And then next, we have our board president announcements. At this time, I do not have any announcements. And then we will go to our next opportunity for public comment. And we have this on our non-agenda items. I think these are kind of our normal, they know the rules. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to call D. Jones down. He is up first. You do have your 3 minutes, sir.
How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. First off, I just want to thank y'all for just investing into our youth and into the future of our youth, because I care about our education. And the election I wasn't too proud of our election, but I'm still hopeful because it's leaders like me that's going to step up, and I care about our education system. So I'm going to do everything that I can to be able to help out. I was one of the people who pitched at the Safe Pitch Task Force. And I actually was one of the partners who won the $10,000 grant. So I'm going to be doing this in partnership with the Urban League and the school district. We're going to activate one of the 6 esports labs that you guys invested into. I have people that work at game design. They have hands-on learning opportunities for our students to engage and learn this now while they're in school. I have people that's going to educate them on NIL, which is name, image, and likeness. So if they play traditional sports or into esports, they'll have those people and organizations that can actually guide them through the process of them actually being able to capitalize off their name, image, and likeness, and just being able to pour back into our students, because I got a $10,000 grant, but I'm going to pour at least $3,000 back into our students from the grant I got, and then I'm looking to get some additional funding to give these kids scholarships for esports and game design and the things that they want to get into. So I'm very thankful for you guys to invest, because I believe I am one of those people that truly showing the benefit of what it takes to invest into our students, but seeing it pay off and being able to pour it back into our school system, into our community, and getting our government's funding and backing for that, because $10,000 isn't a lot. I've had it before when I won in 2018, but I wanted to do esports, and now I can actually pursue that. So besides the career and development opportunities that we're going to be able to develop together, we're definitely going to help our students be able to get out of poverty and improve our education system and lead and pioneer and innovate. So I'm very thankful for just to be able to partner with you guys to give back to our students, to pour funding back into them, to actually educate them on game design, because now the Olympics is now something that has the esports Olympics. So I'm one of those big people that think big, but maybe one day one of our students from GRPS will develop a game that's played in the Olympics. I don't think that's too far-fetched, because I think anything is possible. So I'm just so thankful for you guys investing in the esports, investing into the education and future of our youth, because I've practiced that presentation hours and hours and days and days and days until I got that pitch perfect, and then I pitched it very good, and I was one of the partners to partner with our school district. And one of the things that I looked at it for our city is two things that they look for in the values is innovation and equity, and I know we're going to bring that together for our students, for our city, for our state, for our county, and the nation one day. So thank you guys for being a partner, and I look forward to changing our community together.
Thank you. Matt Marlowe. Julia, are there any other cards out there? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matt Marlowe, President of Grand Rapids Education Association. Thank you, President Williams, Dr. Roby, and distinguished board members. I just want to say thank you. A lot of things hearing tonight with regard to about robust risk and assessment, about safety, about equity in education, also looking in the future with regard to real estate in the urban setting, because we do own a lot of properties. So a lot of looking forward things. I really appreciate that. And also the presentation on safety with all the implementation of all the safety. And I just want to end with this, just to keep things in mind, because I know we're having some new board members start in the new year. So looking on the website, GRPS, there's some imperatives that are listed for the board. So Grand Rapids Board of Education's imperative statement. So every scholar will feel physically and emotionally safe regardless of which school they attend, which is very important. Every scholar will be empowered, well-educated, and well-rounded. Every scholar will have a quality teacher or teachers. Scholars will experience a quality education, and also scholar academic performance and discipline will not be predictable based on race, class, ability, or any other exceptionality. So just with that in mind, I heard a lot about safety. I think a lot of the kids, the scholars, the staff they need to be taught safety in a sense. I think we kind of take that for granted. Maybe if you've ever traveled in an airplane, they go over the safety things, and you kind of zone out because you've heard it over and over again, but some people haven't. And I don't think a lot of, depending on how much time parents spend with their kids talking about safety, or how much time do teachers, because some of the teachers are new. We have different safety policies. We have itinerant staff that travel to 3 or 4 buildings. So maybe incorporating that a little bit more to help the staff and the students to make sure everybody's safe. And we can implement that in with all the other safety things we have. I think that would be wonderful. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we have our superintendent comments.
I actually don't have any this evening.
All righty. And then we have board member comments. I will start with our student rep.
No comments.
All righty. Ms. Melton.
No comment tonight.
Ms. Shockey.
Well, just a congratulations to the board members who were elected and will be joining the Grand Rapids Public Schools. It has been one of the greatest privileges of my adult life, and I will miss it dearly, but I am writing my grand finale speech, so no more words tonight, but you will hear from me in December.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yeah, so I thank you all, first of all, for coming. I really appreciate us having these school board meetings, as we say, on the road. I just like the change of scenery. I know it's a little awkward for folks, but I really do think that intentionality matters to get to different parts of our city. But then secondly, going off of, a little bit of the report that I gave from our school board conference, I just think, now more than ever, we have to be so intentional about embedding equity and opportunity and justice into, into the work that we do with our scholars, whether on the school board, whether on, folks that are working in our buildings with our students. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that we have to come together as a community, work steadfast and true to our scholars, and hope that we can build them into the leaders of tomorrow that we need, and that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Ms. Downs-Lewis?
Yes, I'd just like to thank Mr. Johnson, Mr. Green, and Mr. Smart for their reports and their updates. And it proves to me, and it should prove to a lot of people, that there is so much work that is done behind the scenes that people don't see. And so as far as these reports, it pointed out to me and hopefully to others, these people are working really hard to make sure our kids are well fed, that they're safe, and they're going to go into new buildings, nice, new, clean buildings. So I thank the gentleman who did that.
All right. Ms. Davis?
No comment tonight.
And Ms. Wade?
No comment.
All righty. I see Mr. Eatman is not back with us yet, so I'll go ahead and make some comments. I do want to say on behalf of the Board of Education, we extend a heartfelt appreciation to all our veterans. Veterans demonstrate that greatness is achieved not just through personal success, but through the acts of service and sacrifice that benefit the entire community. This is a powerful lesson we want our children to understand and carry forward in their lives. Thank you for the legacy you've built and the example that you have set for generations. I want to remind all of our audience members to register for Turkey Trot if you have not done so, and plan to join us on Thanksgiving Day. There'll be plenty of time for your turkey, so we'll be done. We're normally done pretty early, so you won't miss a beat. I want to say congratulations to all the outstanding scholar athletes. Congratulations to all of the new elect members of the Grand Rapids Public School Board, and a heartfelt farewell to some of our members that will be leaving. We have just about one more meeting or two with you, and you will be going on to enjoy your Monday nights. Thank you all for that, and then we will be going into our closed session.